So, hey guys, I've been messing around in the Extra Zero Festival, and this list I can say is affirmatively not very consistent, but it does get the job done when you open good enough. In this case, we did not open good enough, probably, maybe. Hard to say, actually. Uh, if we send... Wait, what's our next drop? Oh, Changshi. Yeah, so let's see. If Tsuchinoko specifically hits Vendred Core, then we can normal summon Dark Refer, sending Changshi to send um Revendred Slayer, activate Ravenous Vendred. Like maybe that gets you somewhere. I think it does. But in general, after I've been playing Extra Zero Festival, well, just for a while, I have realized some things about Extra Zero Festival. So first things first, back row removal. Yeah, main deck back row removal. That's just really something you're going to struggle with a bit. So there are a lot of just moderately annoying things with back row. So if we look at specifically Shining Sarcophagus, well, if we want to out this, first off, it cannot be destroyed by monster effects. So we have to have some kind of back row removal with no extra deck that specifically is going to be able to send to the graveyard, return to the hand, or banish Shining Sarcophagus, I guess. So you would need something like that just to out Shining Sarcophagus, which is a bit annoying. And then there are a few other moderately annoying things like King Sarcophagus. So King Sarc, yeah, outing this a bit of a pain in the ass because, you know, this card also exists. So to put it in a different perspective, I guess, we would need to out Happy, but to out Happy, we have to like destroy this thing by battle or something. But if we want to destroy this by battle, we have to deal with King Sark's effect over here. Once per turn at the start of the damage step, if your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you send that opponent's monster to the graveyard. So that's a bit annoying, right? So okay, then we just out King Sark, right? Oh, but then Happy triggers. If another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, then target two cards that are banished and or in the graveyards. I either add both to the hand or shuffle both into the deck. Okay, so they just get King Sark then. Okay, then we can out Happy, right? No, because if we do anything aside from banish Happy at this point, King Sark will allow you to more or less special summon Happy again. So yeah, that's annoying. And also, of course, Shining Sarc is strong because yeah, we just summon like Gandara G here, and then Gandara G destroys the entire field, like all back row and all monsters, and then banishes them. So that's a bit rough to deal with. But this got me thinking, what exactly can we be playing? Well, could we be playing that kind of deals with all of this annoying stuff? Well, I'm thinking Vendred. So maybe not like this list exactly because it's kind of awkward. Optimizing like Vendred with no extra deck, because normally like we might ritual summon Revendred Slayer, then we link it off. So I have no links in my extra deck because they're all banned. So that's not really doable. But I think Vendred still has like decent potential. You need like a good amount of gas to get this working, but it's also fairly budget in this case because now we don't even need to play Revendred Slayer, so no URs required. Very epic. So alright, back row removal seems to be pretty key here if possible, and also I believe this is legal, right? So let's see. Kairushin legal, so yeah, that this is something you might have to deal with. And also with the Shining Sarc cards, and the jellyfish for the Kyrushin stuff, right? Uh, does it not show up at all around here? Jellyfish? Here we go. So jellyfish can only negate spells and monsters, and then we also have Shining Sarc here with Silent Zero. So Silent Zero Magician here can negate only spells, and with Turn, which is going to be something you have to deal with. Turn Silence over here. This negates monster effects, so you'll have to somewhat deal with both, but notably, neither of these effects actually do anything against specifically traps. But if your trap does target, then Silent Swordsman 0 can negate it, I guess. So we kind of have to look out for all of these things if possible. But just a big Revendred Executor is pretty hard to out, honestly. So let's assume I special summon a Revendred Executor, like the ideal one, I guess. So we will use as material Core and Horde and Revenants on field to summon the Executor. So this does a number of things. So now our Executor has 2 effects, and also the fact that makes it so your cards cannot be targeted except for this one, except this card can't be targeted because of Core. And then we can banish a special summoned monster, and we can banish a spell trap every single turn, quick effect. But the other thing is that we can deal with Gondra with the effect of our Revendred Origin. So if we have multiple origins, we can protect multiple times with Origin, which is nice. So because Gondra specifically destroys first and then banishes, Revendred Executor is pretty much just a big asshole that's very difficult to out. Speaking of which, Zombie World I've found has been like nice against certain matchups, but most notably there are 2 decks that I've seen so far. So we have Through Draco, and then we have Fluandries. So yeah, Flu and also Through Draco just get completely owned by Zombie World, so not much explanation needed there. But let's see. With Revendred Executor, well, or any Vendred special summoned with Hound Horde in general, is pretty nice to have because you can just target a spell trap your opponent controls and banish it. So the form of removal here is good, being banish, and just a bunch of spell trap removals type things or whatever. Well, yeah, spell trap removal is kind of hard to come by. I've seen a lot of annoying strategies, but I think the most annoying thing so far is probably just yubel. Yep. So the thing about yubel is that we have Nightmare Throne, which will trigger every time you out a yubel, and if you destroy a yubel, it just goes into like a different yubel, which is also annoying. And then Samsara D Lotus is the only like interaction you have here. Being a kind of monster negate, it changes monster effect to destroy one yubel monster on the field, which is not like the most insane thing in the world, I guess. But yeah, it's something you have to deal with. But the really annoying part about this is that you have to go through, like, technically, before you can like attack your opponent, you have to kind of deal with all their copies of Nightmare Pain. And then if they're also playing the Spirit Gates, then it gets quite a bit more annoying. So let's say we activate Nightmare Pain, turn 1, we out Nightmare Pain, and then our opponent activates second Nightmare Pain because it's not that hard to search. And then also, if they control a yubel, they can just add back the Nightmare Pain we outed every single turn. And if they have the second opening of the Spirit Gates, you know, it can add back opening of the Spirit Gates. And of course, opening of the Spirit Gates adds back Nightmare Pain. So we're in an infinite loop of just unlimited pain where our opponent just keeps adding back Nightmare Pain and opening of the Spirit Gates over and over and over again. which is pretty annoying because the yubel cards, they're pretty annoying to out. Doubly so if they have the field spell, which is just RNG if they have the field spell or not. And of course, if they have the field spell, this allows you to add from your deck, graveyard, or banishment, whose original level is 1 higher or lower than one of those monsters, then you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. So that doesn't really matter what you out. As long as Nightmare Throne's on the field, something will probably be just summoned back. The only way we could possibly kind of deal with the throne without like removing the throne would be like banishing face down, and then I think the only things that can do this are, well, I was thinking Fenrir could kind of do it, but I guess Fenrir is banned, so that leaves genuinely only one card, I believe. Let's see. Eater of Millions. Yeah. So we can Eater then, I guess. Because this happens in damage step as well, I think this can't really be stopped. Well, technically Eater is still summonable, right? But you have to banish 5 or more cards from your hand, field, and or extra deck face down. So we'll simply say, yeah, that's a bit rough. Having to, well, banish a bunch of cards without extra deck. So that sucks. But yeah, Eater of Millions would technically be able to kind of deal with yubel. And this is specifically at the start of damage step if this card battles an opponent's monster at all. So that would be on your turn and your opponent's turn, which is nice if it comes up, right? But yeah, summoning that in extra 0, yeah, that's definitely rough. I'm sure some deck can do it, but without suffering too much, I don't know about that, Chief. You're bashing your own cards face down. Face down is pretty bad. So there's that. And one of the issues, I guess, is just getting rid of your guys. So gotta check every single time. Is this legal? Oh yeah, it's legal. If you Jama your opponent, it's actually fairly annoying, isn't it? Speaking of which, might as well check. Uh-huh. Yeah, they're hella banned. Alright, good to know. But we can still hit our opponent with the garden, give them some tokens, and they probably can't out them. Maybe. Depends on the exact strategy, I guess. So, yeah. Back row removal, I'm going to say, is definitely something you want to be having. And then, in terms of like back row removal options, I can't think of anything like super good. If we're thinking about like stuff you would put on your endboard, otherwise you'd be running stuff like Harpy's Feather Duster, Cosmic Cyclone, whatever. So I think I bit my tongue. So I think honestly, the best deck that I can think of would probably be just a ritual deck, probably. Is rituals allow you to, well, kind of play still. I mean, it's still like some ritual decks, of course, aren't going to have a good time with no extra deck, but real quick, what did they do to Voiceless Voice? Just curious here. Voiceless Voice. Oh yeah, you're not allowed to play Skull Guardian or low. But alright. If we were to play Vendread, we have access to Hound Horde, and that's back row removal, so I think the correct ratio is probably, like, because there's no extra deck, 3 Origin sounds about right. And then we want 1 Evolution. I don't know how many copies of Scar, but it's 2 or 3, I think. We'll want 1 or 0 of Core. And then we want 2 Battle Lords. Because of Evolution, we want to send the second Battle Lord for the Evolution. And then we can have a copy of Vendread Scavenger, so we can search for Ravenous Vendread. And the annoying thing is we can't really add back our copies of our ritual spells without our link to, so that kind of sucks. But we definitely want 3 charge, I believe. That sounds correct. And then Knights, I don't think we want to run Knights. Knights is pretty bad. So we'll probably avoid playing Knights. We can play, I guess, Vendred Revolution. I think it's Revolution, right? Special summon that monster defense, and if you do, add that ritual spell to your hand. Uh, that's not the correct one, is it? Reorigin. Oh, it's Reunion. Reunion is the one that allows you to technically ritual summon a guy, kind of. But this is kind of annoying to resolve, so probably not that. Daybreak is not bad. Vendred Nightmare. What is this? I've never seen this card before. Tribute one or more Vendred monsters from your hand and or field and target one face of guy, increase its level. Gain 1,000 attack. Not particularly useful. Also we want to grab, I guess, Revenants. And this looks about correct. And then the other archetype I'm thinking of running with this is Megalith. Sounds pretty logical to me. So the gimmick with the Vendred specifically is that all of your ritual summon cards here, specifically your Vendred ones, allow you to ritual summon a Vendred from your graveyard. But where does it say you can do that? Let's see. You must also tribute, then or banish. This can be used to ritual summon any Vendred ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. So we'll be using the Megalith cards first to put the Vendred cards into the graveyard, I believe, is the idea that we want to go for here. And then with that, we should be able to summon our Vendred guys. So for this, I believe what we need is a copy of Emergence. You want to max out on your Unformed. Full. I believe you want to max out on Full, Bether, and then Valag. You should max out on that as well. If we want to be a little bit cheeky, I guess we could max out on Aratron if we want to try playing on our opponent's turn. I don't think that's that likely to resolve. Ophiel. Agith. And then I believe we want to run one Auk. And there's no hand traps here. So that's a little bit awkward, but I guess we can go grab Megalith Portal, maybe? Do we need Portal? I mean, not really. But this deck list should work like moderately okay, I think, right? We can't get into any of our Vendred cards here, can we? We can if we activate Charge, actually. Then the issue is getting Vendred Slayer off the field, so maybe this isn't the play, but just in general, Megalith and Vendred, if you could somehow mash this with your deck, I think it's pretty worth it. And I'm forgetting pre-prep, aren't I? Yeah. That's why we're running this, right? So, whatever. The important thing is that you have back row removal. So, Bether is able to be used as back row removal, and for the most part, if you're able to special summon like Megalith Full, Megalith Ophiel, or Haggith, it usually allows you to go into Bether, and Bether pops multiple guys. And it's not just monsters, not just spell traps. So it's generally useful. So one of the key cards we're looking out for here for this event, I think it's going to be probably Gandara. So Gandara G. This is a pretty nasty card in this event, being able to board wipe multiple times. So it does cost you half your life points, but here's the secret. Paying half your life points doesn't mean anything. In the sense that even if we have one life point, apparently we can still keep quote-unquote paying the cost. Because apparently we round down in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know, whatever. But you can keep activating Gandara G, so if we have like some monster removal that at least deals with Gandara G, If we have some spell trap removal, they'll outshining Sarc, which will also cut off access to any additional copies of Gandra G. But yeah, it's just pretty rough in general. I guess Bethor cannot remove the Shining Sarc, but it can remove the Gandra G, which is fairly helpful. Then with Vendread, we can out both the Gandra G and the Shining Sarc. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to look into a Vendread build. And probably going to try to implement some copies of Zombie World. It's kind of rough, but having access to Zombie World in general is pretty nice. We're playing kind of extra deckless Vendread here, which is like not the best, but it's not the worst thing in the world either, I guess. If we just had access to any Link 2, that would help just to get things off the field, but yeah. We can still get a lot of things done with just a single Revendred Slayer, in my opinion. And if we do make the Revendred Executor, this is insanely hard to out, being one of the strongest things I think we could put up in the Extra Zero Festival. You would need more or less just exactly a Kaiju. Otherwise, I don't see how you're outing Revendred Executor, right? If we summon it using Core, Hound Horde, and Revenants, this is now a untargetable 3k guy that can banish a spell trap and a monster every single turn. So if you're playing Yubel, we can banish Nightmare Pain and banish your Yubels until you have nothing left, I suppose, which is pretty nasty, I would say. Yeah. And I mean, if we were playing 2 copies, technically we could, on the second turn, I mean, I don't know the odds of this with no extra deck, but on the second turn we could activate what was that card called again? Reorigin? No, Reunion. Yeah. So we could activate Reunion to summon like a second one, so it's even more annoying to out. And if you have like non-targeting destruction, we can protect it with the effect of Origin up to 3 times. Not there's no effect that is even like soft once per turn or hard once per turn on this effect, so we could keep protecting our Revendred Executor here, which counts as Revendred Slayer while on the field. So that's neat, I guess. Well, more research into Vendread and Megalith necessary, and then there's also like the incantation cards, like all of these guys. These guys fit into this somehow, and I'm not exactly sure what ratios to play these guys at. Kind of haven't worked it out, but these help a little bit, if nothing else. Getting your Vendread guys off the field is kind of the problem, I suppose. And the one counter that you kind of have to be wary of, I guess, is Bestials, but it's not that hard of a counter. It's possible to play around, so it depends, I guess. But just in general, I think Vendread is pretty damn strong. Well, once you get set up anyways. So, let's see. Is this hand very lit? I have no idea how we ritual summon this OVL here. Yeah, maybe kind of need to work on this list in particular, but yeah, just in general. For this event, if you're building your own deck, I recommend trying out Vendread because it doesn't require any URs, so pretty worthwhile to do in my opinion, only requiring a couple of SRs here and there, like pre-prep is really good to have, Ravenous Vendread, and then Battle Lord and Executor. That is it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. So, well, I mean, 4 different cards, I guess, that are SR. And then Scavenger you don't actually need. This is only for you want a pre-prep to add the Ravenous Vendread. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. And hopefully this was a little helpful as to what you can expect to see in Extra Zero. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.